Hi guys, Palmer Car Audio and welcome back to the channel. And no, guess what? I'm not going to be covering an air install this week, but what I am doing is I'm covering an audio upgrade in a rather special BMW Z8. Now, Imran from Evolve has left his Z8 with us to do an audio upgrade. It's a fantastic car, absolutely mint, but his complaint is about the audio in this car, especially when the hood is down. You can't hear much, and I've had to listen to the quality of the audio. It's not too great. So what we're going to be focusing on is changing all the speakers in the vehicle, changing the head unit, and introducing an amplifier to really lift the sound stage right up and just get it sounding quality. I believe the guys have already started stripping down the vehicle to see what we can fit in the car. We've actually never done one of these, it's our first one. And with there not being many Z8s in the country, I don't think many audio upgrades have been done, so it's a bit of the unknown for us. But yeah, we love a challenge here, so yeah, let's see how we get on. Like I said, the guys have already started stripping the car down to see what we can fit. Over here we have the front door cards have been stripped off, and what we found was 2-inch mid-driver and a tweeter in the door. And then there are, I believe, 6-inch speakers in the kick panels. As you can see, Jay's got his head down there. Apparently they're not easy to get to, so he's got his head stuck in there. And we're going to whip those out and see what kind of depth we have to play with to put some really decent mid-range or maybe even mid-bass drivers down in the kick panels. We have also discovered that under the seats, there's some 6x8s. So we're going to look to swap those out. And also, there are some speakers. If you look down here, there's what looks to be maybe, again, 2-inch mid-drivers behind the front seats. So yeah, so once the guys have got it all stripped out, we'll work out what equipment we can fit in there. Head unit wise, we're going to go for a top end Sony unit in this. That should be a straightforward fit. Looks like a normal single din aperture in there, and it should keep the flap to keep the stereo hidden as well. But yeah, so we'll come back a bit later on and see what the guys find out. Hi guys, we're a few days on and I can now happily say that Imran's audio upgrade in his amazing BMW Z8 is now complete. Now, before I jump in the car and turn it on again so you guys get an idea of how it sounds, I know it's going to be difficult over YouTube and stuff, but it'll give you a rough idea. Now, the key thing here was to install everything in the stock locations without any modifications to the car itself, whilst having good quality sound, a decent amount of volume, and keeping it simple, if you like, without adding lots of DSPs and line drivers and all the other sort of stuff. So before I jump in the car, let me just run through the equipment and run through what we've actually installed in there. So to start with, the head unit, we went with a Sony RSX GS9, absolute banger of a head unit. Sound quality is second to none out of this stereo. We've also gone for a full Audison speaker and amplifier upgrade. Now in the kick panels right down the bottom, we've gone for Audison AP 6.5Ps. So they're your mid-range. And also in the doors, you have a set of AP2 mid-range speakers. And we've gone for some AP1 tweeters. And also behind the seats, there's another pair of mids, which we've used another set of AP2s for, just to get a little bit of rear fill. And the best part of it all, we've managed to fit some AP8s. So there's now an 8-inch subwoofer under each of the front seats. Front seats, they're the only seats in the car. But anyway, and that is all running off a Audison SR 4.500 amplifier, 5-channel amp. So 4 of the channels are running all the speakers, and the sub channel is running the 2 subs under the seats. Now, before I get in the car, Jay, what's happening?
What's happening?
You all right?
Yep.
So,
good.
How did the install go?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small car, big guy, but we managed that. Great car to work on, beautiful machine. It was a bit of a challenge getting obviously the 6.5s in there.
Yep.
Because what they actually do is they fit right in the rear, in the front quarters, and there's like a capping over it.
Yeah.
So you have to remove quite a bit and get in some awkward positions to get the speaker out, but we managed to do that.
And it's kind of halfway up the dash as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of like, if you imagine that's a bottom dash level, and the speaker's like there.
So
it's sort of, there's a capping which goes over, so it vents obviously the sound downwards. Okay. So obviously we have to remove anything underneath, the capping, and just get in some awkward positions. But you know, me and myself, Steve, and just try and get the speaker out. So once we managed to get that out, then obviously work the reverse, get the speakers in. Had to pull the seats out, obviously, to get the under seat subs in.
So most of the interior was stripped out.
It's sort of built backwards, and you wouldn't expect it from a BMW.
Okay.
You'd think it'd come apart in a sort of order.
Yeah.
But like, just to get the rear speakers out, we've had to obviously remove the crash bars.
Oh wow.
The rear panels.
Yeah.
Then you can move the carpet out the way to actually get to the rear mid speakers.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Obviously it's helped to run any cabling that we need to do as well.
Okay.
Obviously behind the seats, Palm will show you in a second, you had the original CD changer.
Okay.
And the amp location and everything. So what we've done is actually fitted the amp in that location there. So making everything look factory. So anyone peeks ahead in the car, they will not see any sort of aftermarket product in there. Obviously apart from the unit, obviously once the stereo flaps open. But I think that unit as well goes really well with the car, the lines of it. And
it does, it looks really good in the dash, doesn't it? And also Imran also specified that he didn't want anything like chopped up, modified.
So I mean,
how did you get on with that?
He also specified he wanted bass in the car. Yeah. So that was a bit of a challenge. I mean, you can't put a box in there and get any sort of sound through. There's no room behind the seats. Yeah. There's no room in the footwell. And obviously because it had obviously the factory speakers underneath the seats, we obviously put them in those locations. And to be fair, it works really well.
I have had a listen, and honestly, it sounds clean, crisp, and most importantly, there's some bass on there. You had to turn the bass levels down, didn't you, because there was so much bass?
Yeah, a little bit. So we just balance out the speakers with the bass, just so we get an overall sound. You know, for any sort of different type of music you might play. Some tracks will have more bass, some tracks will have less bass. Yeah. So obviously we just want to sort of keep it equal to all sorts of music sort of thing.
And obviously with the Sony stereo, you can't actually adjust anything from the stereo. You've got to download the app. Download the app, but they actually provide you with a remote control. Okay. Oh, okay. So you can actually go through your sound settings and everything via that. Okay. It's a good thing because if anyone jumped in your car, they can't start pressing buttons and messing up. And messing up, yeah. Which is great. And then Imran will ring me and go, listen, my stereo's not sounding too great. But all right, wicked. So there we go, a full Audison speaker and amp install with a Sony GSX-9 head unit. Now, if we go into the vehicle itself, Jay mentioned earlier, the amp is installed in the cubby where the CD changer would have originally been. And it's all like a covert install where you can't even see the amp. He's still got his torch. That's amazing. As mentioned earlier, it's the front 6.5-inch mids that were probably the most difficult to try and fit. You can't even see them, but yeah, cameraman. If you try and get the camera right up there, the audience might get a...
You'll see the
there
grill.
You go. There's the mid all the way up there. And yeah, it's not easy to get to. And obviously then in the doors you have the tweeter and another 2-inch mid mounted in the behind the OEM grille there. Stereo is behind the original flap as well. There you go. That Sony looks really nice in there. What a difference. It's got so much more volume to it. It's a lot crisper. It's just an all-round smooth sounding audio setup, and it's what I would expect out of a BMW. So yeah, happy days. Listen guys, this has been an absolute pleasure to work on. Imran's actually picking this car up tomorrow, so we will get his first impressions on video. So you just keep watching for a second. I'm a happy chappy, and I'm sure Imran will be too. Until next time, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to keep up with all of our videos and all of our content. But for now, I'm gonna spend a few more minutes in here listening to the tunes and just chilling out before I go home. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you later.